sophomore year of high school. Awkward, exciting, terrifying. Everyone buzzing about homecoming. Posters plastered on lockers, whispers in the hallways. My best friend Sarah had other plans. "You are going to homecoming," she declared. I protested, but Sarah was relentless. I agreed to go, my stomach churning with nervous anticipation. Homecoming was a blur of flashing lights and loud music. That's when I first saw him, standing near the snack table. He caught my eye and smiled shyly. We talked for what felt like hours. The days following homecoming were a whirlwind. Mark was everywhere. He'd wait for me after class, walk me to my locker, even show up at my after-school job. At first, it was flattering. I had never received this kind of attention before. My friends teased me about my newfound popularity. Mark seemed smitten with me. He showered me with compliments and wrote me poems. He craved my attention, needing constant reassurance. There were red flags, subtle hints that something wasn't right. I brushed off his neediness as insecurity, his intensity as passion. I mistook his possessiveness for love, his jealousy for devotion. I had no idea the nightmare that awaited me. As the weeks turned into months, Mark's behavior became increasingly possessive. He'd get angry if I spent time with my friends. He'd constantly check my phone. His insecurities began to manifest as control. He wanted to know where I was every minute of the day. My attempts to reassure him fell on deaf ears. The more I tried to pull away, the tighter he clung. One evening, he surprised me at work. He showed up at the library, a bouquet of wilting flowers in hand. He cornered me behind the stacks, demanding to know why I hadn't been answering his calls. He grabbed my arm, his grip surprisingly strong. I was terrified. This wasn't the sweet, shy boy I had met at homecoming. This was a stranger, his love morphing into something dark and possessive. The incident at the library was a turning point. It shattered the illusion of the charming, sensitive boy I thought I knew. Mark's behavior escalated. The physical aggression, though infrequent, left me shaken. He'd slam his fists on tables, punch walls, always stopping short of actually hurting me. He used tears and emotional outbursts as weapons, threatening to hurt himself if I ever left him. He painted himself as the victim, manipulating me with guilt and fear. I felt trapped, suffocating under the weight of his need and my own growing fear. My friends urged me to break things off, but it was easier said than done. I was caught in a web of manipulation and emotional blackmail, unable to see a way out. Breaking up with Mark felt impossible. Every attempt was met with tears, threats, promises to change. His behavior became a suffocating presence in my life. I withdrew from friends, stopped going to social events, and lived in a constant state of fear and anxiety. Word of Mark's behavior spread through the school like wildfire. People whispered behind my back, their stares a mix of pity and judgment. Some understood, having witnessed his possessiveness firsthand. Others, however, saw only the surface, judging me for staying with someone who treated me so poorly. The rumors stung, adding another layer of shame and isolation to my already unbearable situation. I felt like a pariah, ostracized for a choice I felt powerless to change. The whispers followed me everywhere, a constant reminder of my predicament. I retreated further into myself, seeking solace in books and solitude. My once vibrant personality dimmed, replaced by a shadow of my former self. The judgment from my peers only intensified my feelings of helplessness and shame. High school ended, and I clung to the hope that college, with its promise of a fresh start, would be my saving grace. I chose a university several states away, determined to break free from Mark's grip. For a while, it seemed to work. The distance provided a much-needed reprieve. I flourished in the anonymity of college life, making new friends, exploring new interests. But Mark's shadow lingered. He called constantly, his voice filled with desperation and accusation. He bombarded me with emails, letters, and gifts, each one a painful reminder. His attempts to control me continued, albeit from a distance. Section 8. A Glimmer of Hope, Distance, and Growth. Despite the challenges, college was transformative. Surrounded by new people and experiences, I began to heal. I confided in a trusted friend, sharing my story for the first time. Her unwavering support and encouragement gave me strength. She helped me see the situation with clarity, pointing out the unhealthy patterns and manipulative tactics that had become my norm. Slowly, I began to reclaim my life. I poured myself into my studies, joined clubs, and allowed myself to experience the joy and freedom that had eluded me for so long. With each passing day, Mark's hold on me lessened. His phone calls became less frequent, his emails less desperate. The distance, once a source of anxiety, became my shield, allowing me to heal and grow. I was finally starting to understand what it meant to be truly free. Section 9. Breaking Free, a Phone Call and a Decision. One evening, during my junior year of college, Mark called. His voice was subdued, almost defeated. He confessed to having met someone else. Relief washed over me, followed by anger. How dare he, after all these years? But amidst the anger, I felt liberated. His confession was the push I needed. I hung up, promising to never let someone have that power over me. It was a phone call that ended an era, the sound of freedom ringing in my ears. Section 10. The Aftermath and the Long Road to Healing. The road to healing was long and arduous. The scars of emotional manipulation ran deep, leaving me with a lingering sense of distrust and a fear of intimacy. I struggled to form healthy relationships, haunted by the ghosts of my past. Therapy provided a safe space to process the trauma, to unpack the years of manipulation and abuse, and to learn how to set healthy boundaries. It was a slow and painful journey, but with each step forward, I felt myself growing stronger, more resilient. I learned to recognize the red flags of toxic relationships, to value my own self-worth, and to never again compromise my happiness for the sake of someone else. The experience, though painful, had forged within me a strength and a self-awareness that I carry with me to this day. Section 11. Lessons Learned, the Importance of Boundaries and Self-Worth. Looking back, I am filled with a mixture of sadness and gratitude. Sadness for the young girl who lost herself in the labyrinth of someone else's emotional needs, and gratitude for the woman I have become, stronger, wiser, and more resilient than I ever thought possible. Mark's shadow no longer haunts me. His memory serves as a reminder of the importance of self-love, the power of setting boundaries, and the courage it takes to walk away from toxic relationships. It taught me that love should never come at the cost of my own well-being, that my voice matters, and that I am deserving of respect, kindness, and above all, a love that sets me free, not one that holds me captive. And that is a lesson I will never forget.